Hey, hi everybody. It's Michael speaking. It's the tool. I hope you like my analysis so far, what I've been given in regards to the markets, and I'm just gonna keep going and keep continuing what I'm doing. And if you like it, please support, please subscribe, and then also send it out to other people so that we can all learn and grow and make money together. So let's start. This time I'm doing some videos, or one video in particular, and see how that actually gonna help us in the financial trading market. So let's watch a little bit together.
President Donald Trump has said that the United States knows precisely where Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is, but for the time being, he's safe from harm. In a post online, Trump said, "We know exactly where the so-called Supreme Leader is hiding. He is an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out." And in brackets, he clarified what he means by that. Kill, exclamation mark, at least not for now. He went on seemingly to call for Iran's unconditional surrender. Meanwhile, Israel is pressing ahead with more airstrikes against Iran's military and nuclear facilities. Iran has been responding with barrages of ballistic missiles.
So one thing we know, what we can see definitely with Donald Trump is trying not to get himself involved in that conflict in regards to Iran, and wants to start a full war with them as well. So he's actually trying to hope that Iran will be surrendering, and he's hoping that there will be a fantastic negotiation happening, because Israel and US are allies, and Israel was trying the hardest really to get the US involved, but Donald Trump is not budging. However, if there is a strong retaliation happening from Iran, then it could potentially mean there might be a World War III happening. And so there's a lot of uncertainty in the market, and I just want to clarify on that one.
Air raid sirens sound over central Israel, announcing incoming Iranian missiles. Most are intercepted, but some make it through. In Herzliya, north of Tel Aviv, empty buses at a depot were hit. Iran has retaliated with missiles and drones since Israel began its surprise air campaign against its longtime adversary on Friday. Israeli warplanes have crisscrossed Iran, hitting nuclear installations, missile stockpiles, scientists and generals. The latest target, Ali Shadmani, had been in the top job for just 4 days.
Tonight, following accurate information received by the intelligence branch, we eliminated Ali Shadmani, the most senior military commander of the Iranian regime. He was eliminated in the heart of Tehran. Shadmani served as the chief of staff of the Iranian regime's armed forces and was the man closest to Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei.
In social media posts, US President Donald Trump said he knew where the supreme leader was hiding, but that there were no plans to take him out. For now. He also claimed the US had control over Iranian airspace. In Iran, thousands of residents were stuck in traffic jams on Tuesday, trying to flee Tehran as Israeli attacks continued. Earlier, Donald Trump instructed residents to evacuate the capital, leaving people wondering if direct US participation in the bombing was imminent.
And our correspondent, Misha Komodowski, joins me now from Washington, D.C. Misha, a lot coming out of Washington right now. Trump has met his national security team in the Situation Room. It very much looks like the next steps are being planned here. What kinds of decisions are being taken in the White House today?
Well, the U.S. National Security Team meeting has just ended, running roughly 1 hour and 20 minutes, according to the White House. We got this message from the presidential pool, and there are growing signs that the U.S. may be considering to join Israel's bombing campaign with a possible help with a so-called bunker buster bomb. Military experts here in Washington say such a strike would likely require an American aircraft to carry out the bombing, something that could have serious consequences here. And President Trump is believed to be weighing what could be one of the most consequential decisions of his presidency. He convened his national security team in the White House Situation Room with key cabinet members and advisors present, including Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard. President Trump has previously contradicted her on Iran's nuclear progress. While Gabbard said in March Iran was not actively building a bomb, Trump claimed the country was very close to getting a nuclear weapon when Israel launched its recent strikes. As we know, President Trump cut his G7 trip short and returned to Washington. Here, he posted several messages on Truth Social. He said the U.S. now has full control of the skies over Iran and claimed that American military technology is far better than Iran's defenses.
So what we see is, again, we keep hearing Trump don't want himself involved. We can see that his initial approach, what he really wants for the U.S. is actually for America to be great again. So he knowing that once they go back into the into war, it costs money, right? It costs money. It costs something. He has to, it costs money. He has to involve himself in it, and that means like more money spent, and it will. I mean, the economy, the U.S. economy is not going to thrive from that. So this is definitely something he's trying to avoid. He really want to focus on building the U.S. economy. He really want to make it great. But this one person, Netanyahu, who doesn't care, he just want to get his way. He was just trying everything he can to get America involved in that war. And yeah, it seems like because of the whole nuclear threat Iran is, presenting, it seems like that unfortunately he has to get himself involved. So he doesn't want to, but his hands are a little bit tightened, which is very, very, very unfortunate. So based on that, let's see how the market looks like, and let's see what other people are saying in regards to the oil price. So now, what is this here? So oil price eases but remain at 4-month high. Aimed at Iran-Israel conflict. So let's see what they're saying.
Iran hostilities. Now finds is Josh Schaefer. Join us now with the trading day takeaways. Josh.
Hey, Josh. So takeaway number one, we've talked a lot over the last couple of weeks about how the market hasn't been paying necessarily as much attention to President Trump and his Truth Social posts. That was not the case today. So the president has been online posting quite a bit about the Iran-Israel conflict. He noted today that he wanted a, quote, unconditional surrender, right, from Iran. That happened right around here, Josh. I'm going to turn my pen on for us so we can circle. Right around here is where the president was posting. You can see that really gave markets the direction for the day, right? Not a massive loss in the stock market today. I mean, S&P 500 falling less than 1%. We've certainly seen worse in the last couple months, but markets nonetheless moving on what the president was saying in terms of the conflict today.
Yeah, here's a question. When you ask the question, and it can sound kind of cold to ask it, Josh, but how much markets, whether they just kind of look through a conflict like this, to the extent that if oil stayed relatively tame, and I think we're around 75, would markets kind of just look through it and get back to focusing on what markets care about, earnings, the economy?
Well, so I think if oil, the strategist take right now, Josh, seems to be that if oil did stay relatively tame, right? And even if we zoom out to a 5-day here, I mean, yes, you've moved higher, but you haven't exactly crashed higher. I think that would be the key. Right. And because to your point, you're talking, markets normally care about the economy and sort of the trajectory of corporate profit, right? Well, this is your key to what the issue would be, right? If oil went up and inflation went up, that is the concern from this conflict. I mean, I think obviously if the U.S. were to actually enter into this conflict, then maybe different aspects of this conversation sort of start entering, right? But I don't think strategists have really gone down that path to this point. It's just simply been, let's watch oil. Oil will be our market indicator. And right now, the stock market is reacting a little bit, but again, not reacting necessarily a whole lot at this point. Takeaway number 2 today, Josh. So Bank of America had their monthly fund manager survey. They survey investors, ask a lot of questions. One of the ones I like to track is them asking if you expect a soft landing, a hard landing, or no landing for the U.S. economy. So quick definitions on those ones, right? We're talking about the path of the economy sort of in terms of the Federal Reserve's interest rate hiking cycle, right? So soft landing would be inflation falls to 2%, we don't get a recession, right? That's the ideal outcome. And so investors ticked up to 66% of investors seeing a soft landing in this June survey. That was the highest level we've seen for this purple portion going back to last October. So really pre-election. Gives you sort of an idea, I think, of how far sentiment has swung in the last 2 months to the positive.
And does that sort of help explain to you, Josh, the market action?
I think it does, because this is sort of the similar chart to recession odds coming down, right? And people feeling better about the economy, people being willing to go more risk on in the markets. One of the things you and I were talking about yesterday, and I was highlighting in my writing today. I mean, CoreWeave up 100% since its IPO. Oklo, an AI sort of nuclear play, that's up over 50%. Quantum stocks are now up over 50% in quantum computing. There's a risk-on vibe underneath the surface of the index in this market. And if everyone wasn't feeling good about the economy like they were in April, this wasn't happening in April, Josh. This is something that we're now getting to because the outlook looks a little bit better.
All right, final bullet point.
Previewing the Fed. So we have Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve coming out tomorrow with their monetary policy decision. Widely expected to hold rates steady, but we also have that summary of economic projections, right? So what we're looking at here is what markets are pricing for the full year. The most favored outcome from markets would be 2 interest rate cuts. And so that dot plot indicating there's 2 cuts. You can also see a fair amount of investors pricing in a chance of 1 cut, and a fair amount of investors pricing in a chance of 3 cuts. I think that perhaps gives you an idea of where maybe some of the risks lie. Not a lot of people think the Fed won't cut this year. So that would be interesting if that's kind of one of the key takeaways from the press conference. But this is where we sit headed into that decision.
I saw the economist and strategist David Rosenberg telling his clients this morning, in his opinion, the Fed should ditch the dots. Ditch them, because his point was, Rosenberg saying, in his opinion, basically meaningless. Against, in the kind of uncertain backdrop we find.
No, it's a fair point, right? And we've seen markets sort of look past some Powell commentary throughout this tariff back and forth, right? If he comes out tomorrow and he's talking about data saying they need to wait, and you have July 9th coming up with this big...
Yeah, so far we can see that the overall market in regards to, the U.S. economy, is relatively positive. That's what they believe in. We can hear that they're believing that there's like a positive economy happening, especially in the US regarding the tariffs of what Trump is doing. The overall beliefs in regards to the economy itself is positive. Okay. And what they're also hoping there will be like 2 interest rate cuts. Once there is interest rate cuts, that means the borrowing price will be cheaper, and that means so it's not going to be as expensive. So that means the market is going to go rise. And can we see that same sentiment in the same belief system for now in the market? So right now I'm on the daily charts, and this is the DXY expressing like the US economy. So we have like a strong look to see what do the people believe, what is it that the investors believe, what is the market sentiment believing at the moment, and what is the economy saying. So for me, as you can see, I was expecting to keep on selling of course we cannot of course we cannot trade DXY, just for those who are not aware of. You cannot trade DXY. However, I'm treating it as if it's my trading platform, as if I'm trading there. But DXY, you can trade it, right? And so the overall idea, if you look at the daily, we are definitely bearish. Okay, we can see. All right, so we broke the previous structure level. Now, what I'm expecting is going to be a retest of this area and probably to go to the downside. That's what I was hoping. Now, what will be like a good entry for us to continue to go to the upside? Because so much is happening. Because once the interest rates are coming out, then we also know if we have like a positive economy for the US or we don't. Okay. So let's go to Forex Factory and see if we have any thing coming out late next here. So we FOMC is going to come out actually today, 7 p.m. The statement that will also really tell us what is going to happen. Boom. So if this is greater than if this one is greater than the forecast, that's the forecast 4.5%. That's what they're expecting the economy to look like. the funds rates, okay, 4.5%, and they're hoping that it will go greater. Once it's greater, it's good for economy. If it's lesser, it's bad for economy. Then we have yeah, so that's how we look, that's how we look at the things. This is what is actually happening. This is going to determine our yeah, how things are moving so far. Then we have yeah, then we're here. This is the DXY. We're gonna have a look here. Oh, sorry, this is the DXY. And yeah, that's where we are right now. We are actually bearish. Like I said, we broke the previous structure, and the best entry for us, the right entry on a daily, would be here, right? That's the best area at 98.948 level. What needs to happen has to break that level, and then that will indicate for us a continual move to the upside. Yeah, that's what we believe in so far. However, what can we see at this stage? We are still at the strong area of support. Okay, we're still in a strong area of support. What we need to see, like an engulfing up, moving to the upside. Right now, we're also on the 78.6 level, okay, of the Fibonacci. Right now, also we are at previous resistance. Here, this area, previous resistance area. That's what we are as well. This is the 4 hour, and that will help us also to determine like what we're gonna do right now. So if this is continues gonna drop right now, like I said, I'm more bearish on it. But based on what we just learned and the market sentiment, yeah, we can definitely expect also to go long. Okay. However, until this is breaking, I'm not gonna enter. If once it breaks here, then I know for sure we can definitely expect more upside potential. Of course, like the market also plays a significant role of our decision what we're gonna make. Right now, we're still on the bearish structure level. As for now, 78.8 level broke, now rejecting the 61.8 level and the fib level. If this candle keeps standing, as well, it's gonna be engulfing or stay strong, then possibly we can a little bit move to the downside. It could be coming to this area probably, or to the previous structure, this area, and then probably go to the upside if there is a strong belief that the market is going to go up. So that's another area would be here, which I'm looking for. So we'll be here. There's another area, and then this is what I'm looking for. So my two biases so far, as a swing trade and as a swing trade, I will expect to go short as for now, because we're still bearish. If anything happens in this area, before we go long, we have to wait till this is breaking. So once it's broken, then we're gonna go long. That is like more of a conservative trade. Another good indication would be seeing a retest at this structure area. That means it will be here. Then we see like some sort of a indication it wants to go to the upside, and then probably we're just gonna go and ride the wave all the way to the upside. That could also happen. Okay, but what I do know is at 7 p.m. there will be a big move happening for the US economy, and then we will know what to believe and what to expect so far with the economy. But as for now, we're a little bit uncertain, but we'll wait. Right now, like I said, we are bearish overall. However, the market believes it has a strong upside potential because of the tariffs and etc. etc. So there's a lot of positivity happening, and yeah, so that's what is happening. However, if US gets himself involved with the war, then we definitely will see the US economy crash, going to the downside, because it means uncertainty for the US economy, and then that means they have to spend more money, and that means it's uncertainty for the investors, and investors don't feel like they want to invest. Okay, then we have Bitcoin as well. Like I kept saying, Bitcoin is a strong, is a interesting thing for me, to be honest, because with Bitcoin, you never know, man. Today, one day is this, another day is this. I don't really know. So what I do know for now, or where we are at this time with Bitcoin, is where are we? Okay, with Bitcoin, we are at the previous high. Okay, that's the previous high. The previous high was $109,000. Okay, that was the previous high. Now, what has happened previously, if you see how Bitcoin normally moves, is every single time. If you go to let me see monthly. Okay, that's just, maybe that's a bit better. So now, 2021, Bitcoin had the highest point, which was the 64,000 level. Okay, then everybody was believing, everybody wants to buy Bitcoin. Then it came down, made a market rejection. Then it broke the 64,000 level. It broke the level. Then what happened? It started to crash, right? And then it lost over 70% of its value, right? So now, again, happening here, broke up, all the way up. Now went all the way up again. Then the next highest point was here, was trying to go to the upside, then it corrected itself, and then it went to all the way to the up. So now it went here, the highest point. Now at this point was where 108,000, came up, and then crashed all the way down to 77,000 level. Now it is an indication that they're trying to take people out, trying to take their money, and then want to go long. Okay, now with Bitcoin, because we already reached $109,000 with Bitcoin, what we expecting, what could happen, not what we expect, but what could happen, again, what has been happening previously, it will come, take everybody out here, and then it's gonna drop probably all the way to 74,000 level or 77,000 level, and then probably go to the upside. We don't know what they're trying to do with the market. Okay, that is what I'm seeing so far. However, what I also see is we have, since we reached the 109,000 level, I wasn't able to break through properly. So we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rejections so far, rejecting that level. And if this week ends in 4 ways, then it's also 6 rejection. Okay, then probably maybe it's gonna go to the downside, maybe to this level, and then going to the upside or that level. We're not really quite sure, but again, because of the whole conflict with Israel and Iran, and it could also mean that people will believe it to be a safe haven. So which means that if the war takes place, actually, if US gets itself involved, a lot of people might invest their money into US economy in this, into Bitcoin as well. Furthermore, as well, in regards to Donald Trump, we also know that Donald Trump is a massive Bitcoin supporter. If everything goes well with him and his economy and everything went well, then we can also see that Bitcoin is also probably going to the upside, because we can see that Bitcoin is more of a retail belief system. Retail market is a very emotional, and yeah, that is what is happening. So for now, everything can happen with Bitcoin, and yeah, of course, my bias is still bullish. Now, if it's gonna drop to the downside, I will not be surprised. For now, I don't mind selling Bitcoin, but for me, what needs to happen, what would be a better, like a really wise approach to this, would be literally see a break of structure and then hit this area, and then we can see. So if we can see a retest at this area, then I would sell. As long as I don't see the retest at daily at this particular area there, I'm not gonna sell Bitcoin. So that means we have to wait of what is going to happen with the Bitcoin market and with the war and etc. etc. So all these things really, affects what we're gonna do and how our decisions are gonna be made. Yeah, the same thing with XRP. Now we on gold. Gold also was rising since the war started, and now it came to the highest point and now rejecting that particular area. So I still believe gold is still bullish. I just believe they're just trying to put people out of the game, and so we're just gonna wait what is happening. I'll still wait for a bull, which will be here, a break of structure that area, and then we go long. If not, we will just wait for change of sentiment, and then we will know what to do, right? But right now we are at the daily resistance, and it just keep rejecting this area. So for me to go short will be a break, retest, and then go short, or we wait for an engulfing and then just gonna go long with the market, and then wait for another break, second entry here, and then we're just gonna go long with gold, which is interesting as well because we watch silver. Silver is also like a interesting opportunity, which we took as well, and then we went long all the way because I knew it's gonna go long. It's gonna be a safe haven. People have lots of hope and expectation for silver, and yeah, it's like another interesting commodity to invest in. Silver is very good. Gold is very good, and yeah, so because of all the wars and all the fears in the economy, so people now started believing more in silver and in gold. That's what we can see. So the trades we took, or what we analyzed on Monday, what happened so far was gold, right? I went all the way to the downside. I was expecting at this area to go long, but it was wrong. So it was an L on my side. I was looking for buys. Now we are in this support level, resistance level, support level, where we expecting them also to go to the upside. If not, we wait for retest, and then we go short. Then we have AUD cut. I was expecting AUD cut to sell off. You can see I had some few entries here. There was an L here on Monday. Then I have another entry here, which was helping me to make like 1% if I wanted to. And then there was here there was a 2%, 2.6% you could have made. But the overall long swing trade wasn't happening. Maybe there's a rejection happening here, this area, and then probably we're gonna go short. If not, we're gonna continuously long. Okay, then we have silver again, long. I'm still long on silver. We had used the CHF. I was expecting to go short. Didn't happen. I was able to catch another 3% here at this area, or the 3 point whatever percent, 3.2, 3.5%. Yeah, here, and yeah, and then all the way went to the upside as well. So it was really a good trade as I was expecting it to be. Then we have yeah, Euro GBP. I said we're gonna go long, which it did as well. So I started going long. I was looking for buys, and then was able to catch all this. Then we had Euro USD, which was also interesting for me. I knew that at USD there might be a rejection happening. So this one was last week's trade. No, that was Monday. Sorry, Monday went all the way up. So my area was definitely here. Came out there because there was a support area. Come out there, and then took the profits from here. And I was expecting to go long, but I was waiting to see if we can see any sign of going long, but it didn't happen. So now, however, where we are right now with UUSD, we had a strong weekly area of resistance, support / resistance. It broke through. So since it broke through, we wait for retested structure and then continuously go to the long. Okay. However, because of what is happening with the trade, it also looks like that it potentially can go short. Okay, why? Because it broke through the previous high, which was the 1.15686, right? And then it broke to the upside and it started reversing. Now it created a long engulfing candle, indicating a strong seller's input. But again, like what is going to happen today at 7 p.m. will indicate if it's going to keep moving to the upside or not. But it is an area now where it hitting support, where we're also in the 61.8. level of Fibonacci going up to the upside, which we could take advantage of. If not, we will see a break of structure. Once I see a break of structure, then I will continuously shorten the market. So what else? That one, I didn't analyze this. Did I analyze anything else? Oh, okay, that's daily. Let me just go 4 hour. I didn't really analyze anything else, to be honest. I just like making my lines. Yeah, this is where we are exactly. So basically, this is now due to the Israel conflict, what we discussed. Okay, about the oil prices, and we are here. What investors should do if Iran takes his unprecedented step in its conflict with Israel. Okay, we can see that tells us in uncertainty and gives us advice of what's supposed to do. And we had oil prices going to the upside as well. Where was it? No, sorry. So the oil prices was supposed to here. Oil dips. Nah. Tariff, Singapore. So this is 27 minutes ago. Okay. So this is what we believe. What
Point.
Oil.
Well, Tom, ever since President Trump
oil dips in volatile markets as Trump spurs wars escalation fear.
left that G7 summit early to focus on the geopolitical situation in the Middle East, that has been the number one question. What are his options here? What is he thinking? Can we get insight into what is going on in President Trump's mind? We know that we had this reportedly 1 hour meeting with his national security team in Washington. There was no statement put out afterwards, so unclear what was discussed in that meeting. He also had a call with the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. No readout of that call either. But at this point, there is a lot of focus on some of the posts that he put out on Truth Social yesterday, and not only because of the content of what he's saying, calling for Iran's unconditional surrender, suggesting that the U.S. know exactly where the Ayatollah is, but for now he's safe. However, lacing that in with a threat if Iran don't yield to the U.S. terms, but also using the plural term we, suggesting that the U.S. are somehow already involved or even tacitly participating in the Israel campaign against Iran right now. So his options at this point are, do they get actively militarily engaged as well? Do they start really deploying U.S. assets and aiding actively Israel with these airstrikes and attacks on Iran? Or do they push for the diplomatic channel and try to bring a now weakened Iranian regime with weakened military and defense capabilities, in addition to nuclear capabilities, to the table and try to get them to agree to terms? As previously discussed, the 6th round of U.S.-Iran talks were supposed to take place on Sunday. They were canceled. In the meantime, the hostilities between Iran and Israel continue. More attacks overnight. The death toll in Iran hasn't been formally updated, but some human rights groups are saying that the death toll has climbed to more than 500, of which about 100 constitute security personnel, some of those senior commanders. In Israel, the death toll official figure is still sitting at 24. Of note, though, Tom, as well, the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem is now closed for 3 days.
Okay, so the conflict, of course, continues, and President Trump, as you say, weighing up what could be a monumental, potentially historic decision. What have other world leaders been saying about this conflict, about this war now, Jemima?
Yeah, well, you have to remember President Trump, on both his first term and his second term, talked about ending the quote-unquote forever wars in the Middle East. He spoke about that when he was in Saudi Arabia just a couple of weeks ago. But it's interesting to hear that some other leaders around the world are a bit more cautious, namely because they are beginning to draw parallels between the decision to attack Iraq back in 2003 and the chaos that unfolded in Libya after military intervention there. Take a listen to what President Macron said on the sidelines of the G7 summit last night.
No to military actions aimed at regime change, because no one knows what comes next. Haven't we collectively seen the consequences this has had in the region and beyond? Does anyone think what was done in Iraq in 2003 was a good idea? Does anyone think that what was done in Libya last decade was a good idea? No.
So the international community agreeing that Iran shouldn't develop the capability of an atomic weapon or a nuclear weapon, but at the same time saying that going one step further and trying to push or externally force regime change doesn't have good results if you take other episodes in history where that has happened in the Middle East, including in this example, President Macron talks specifically about Iraq and Libya, which is why many of the countries in the region, Arab states, the likes of Qatar, Oman, Saudi Arabia, all of them are pushing for mediation. They're pushing to restart those diplomatic channels, condemning the acts that Israel and the actions that Israel have taken only 6 days ago, and saying that at this point, that what they did, the military aggression, actually violates the principles of the Charter of the United Nations. So there is a bigger consensus of countries out there pushing for a diplomatic solution, looking to bring down the temperature, and others going as far as President Macron suggesting that if you push too hard on regime change, it could have ultimately undesired consequences and potentially even lead to chaos.
Here we go, here we go, here we go. So basically, again, like I said earlier, you can see that Trump, he's not really wanting to have...
Given that you think the economy is doing...
He's not really into it. So oil has definitely dipped. The price has been definitely gone down a little bit, or gone high as well, sorry. And so we can definitely see it as well here on the oil chart, okay? So this is Friday's movement. As you can see on Friday, Thursday, Friday, you can see that's where the war started, where the attack happened from Netanyahu and went all the way to 77.54 dollars, and then there was a rejection happening, which was yesterday on Monday. You can see it went all the way down. Now we are in Wednesday. Actually, that was Monday, Wednesday. So we can see on Monday it went all the way down. It was expected, people was hoping to keep going down, but because since the escalation is still going on, I knew that it will be a retest happening in this area and probably going to the upside, which is happening right now. And because the uncertainty and what is still going on, there's still fear, and the prices of oil is gonna surge high as for now. And the reason being is because like for those who already know, Iran is the third largest producer of gas and oil, and the idea on the fear would be of the production, and the fear would be of the production and the transportation of oil. And because of that, there's a lot of fear going on in the market, and that's why it is rising, and the prices of oil will go high, is searching high and high and high. So yeah, man, that's what's going on, guys. I hope you liked what I was doing today. It was a little bit different. If you like more of that type of content, I can make it better. I can, get more expert advice as well on Bitcoin and etc. And if you like it, we're gonna continue. If not, we're just gonna do the old-fashioned way. However, thank you so much for listening. You guys are good, you're blessed, have a fantastic week. And this is my analysis for the week. Like I said, recap, I wanted to go wait for break of retest, sell. If not, we're gonna buy. Then we have still with buying silver. Okay, maybe there's a retest happening in this area because we see an engulfing properly the retest. However, still buying silver, but waiting for an opportunity to buy. Then we have again Euro GBP. I'll still be buying, but again, everything will change at 7 p.m. Okay, 7 p.m. There's gonna be here FOMC coming out statement, and that is definitely going to affect the move of the market of what is going to take place today in the next couple of days. So have a good day, over and